Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Hypnotic Rambles episode
10. I remembered.
perfect.
Haha.
And today, John is leading
Oh God. Again.
again.
Yeah. Okay, so today is on willingness to change.
A wonderful subject.
A very important one.
Very important. Absolutely
Kind of
important.
foundational, actually,
Yeah, I agree.
because if somebody thinks they want to change but doesn't really want to change, then the change won't happen.
So let's elaborate it. How? Explain to the audience.
Okay.
People who's
So we have conscious awareness and unconscious awareness. So we can consciously want to change a behavior that we have or something that we no longer like or a belief. But if our unconscious is holding on to it for a reason that's a really, really strong reason, a classic case would be smokers, or
mm,
particularly where somebody makes an appointment and they want to come in to stop. So they reckon they want to stop smoking, but the program that's running behind it or the reason that they're there, whether it's to stop someone nagging them or stop someone, getting on and they can prove that they've done their best, they've tried to stop smoking, then that's not going to be successful.
that's
But
right.
the same can apply whether it's issues around weight loss or any other belief that our habit or behavior that people are holding on to.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
true.
there's the whole thing of that consciously we do want to make a change, but we're afraid.
And I think that's a very massive part of it is the fear of change, fear
Fear.
of making an effort or sacrificing something or giving up. I often, and it's not just I am hearing it, but I think all over the world, majority of the people often say, I want to change this. I so want to change this. But then when it comes down, if an opportunity comes that they can actually change, they might step back because then there are so many things that comes up, isn't it? Oh, I need to do this to make it happen. So and that's where the willingness comes in. Are you willing to make the change? Are you willing to sacrifice things? Are you willing to make the effort to make
Uh,
the change?
Absolutely. Are you willing to take up that exercise or stop eating those foods or leave those cigarettes behind or change the way you think or feel about something?
Yeah.
Because something must change. It must be now and it must be me. And if the answer to those three questions is yes, then change is instant because you've already made your decision to change. The rest is just a process that we call hypnosis. But you've made your change, you've made that decision to change, and we're just the vehicle that allows that to happen. But ultimately, it's the client. We can't force a client to change.
No, we
They
can't
have to
force
want to
anyone
change.
to change, really.
They have to want to change. And I think that was the point of even having a discussion about this today was that it's that real desire that to change underneath unconsciously.
And also to recognize other elements to it.
Yeah.
Because I think oftentimes we are there, but still there is something that it's holding us back. And then to realize that actually it's because the old way, if you like, the way that we want, or the thing that we want to change, we are familiar with it. It's within our comfort zone. So it's like, yes, it is painful in one way or another, but we know it. We know
Yeah.
how to navigate through it. We know how to live with it. And when we get there, when we realize that actually all I need is to let go of that, and that opens up the door to, okay, let's give it a try, this new thing. Let's give it a go, not even a try. And oftentimes when I meet people and they have anxiety for like 10, 20 years, 30 years, yes, we make the change, but then they are faced with the unfamiliar way of living. So then again, it's giving them tools and strategies to
Absolutely.
become familiar and also to be patient.
Yeah.
Because if you
And
think about it, if somebody who's been overweight all their life, and then suddenly within a year or maybe a couple of years, they lose all the weight that they
mhm,
want to lose, they somehow change their personality too. So they feel that they are someone else. They became someone to become someone else. I do apologize for the barking. But yeah, so um, I think there are many, many elements of this.
there absolutely is. And I tend to view change as a continuum, as in, and Tony Robbins has always used the expression of, we move away from pain and towards pleasure.
Yeah,
And the pain is really severe when we're here. And as we move towards this, there becomes a point where the pain is less painful and the effort to achieve that. But that's the beauty of something like hypnosis because it allows us to make that so big and this change so easy that it just happens.
yeah, yeah,
So we're really in a privileged position, but it's allowing people to understand that any change is possible through hypnosis, but the unconscious permission and the reasons behind it will also have to be dealt with.
yeah. And we do store the fear there, fear of change, because
Yeah,
let's not dismiss the fact that fear of the unknown is a massive fear globally
absolutely.
because we don't know what's on the other side. So it's like, oh, actually, I'm going to stay here.
And of course, if we change, it affects our relationship with those people around us at times. So how are they going to react? Are we going to lose part of our, lose friends, lose different things? It depends on how we change.
Mm,
Um, the only thing is, the only constant in life is actually change.
yeah, yeah. You see, I am one of those people who love change. I just love change. Um, it's it's something that for me it's a challenge. It's like it's something new, and I love new. I love the old as well. Don't get me wrong, because there are parts of me that like the old fashioned, like cottages, like old houses and stuff like that. But majority of the time, if it's something new, it's like, oh, I see it as as an opportunity to grow, to become better, to do things differently, which allows me to find another part of me maybe or something, so I like new, I like change, but not many people do.
No, but it is the only constant in life is change.
Yes, yes, yes.
If you can choose to change rather than letting it just happen for you, you become the director in your own movie.
Mm,
So once you choose the change that you want, those behaviors, those habits, those beliefs that don't work anymore.
exactly, and I love the fact that you said that if you choose, and it's you who need to choose for yourself to
Right.
change. And another great example, going back to smoking, how many times did we meet people who came to us for smoking cessation, and it turned out that there's, that husband or wife, mother, father, children sent them, or boyfriend or girlfriend, to stop smoking. Do you think it's ever going to work like that?
They're going to be the
There
list
are,
for them.
there is already the resistance because they don't do it for themselves. It's like, yeah, they sent me here.
Absolutely. And even when I'm dealing with clients, if a family member or a friend is making an appointment for someone, I'll insist that the person ring direct because that's actually one of the I'm worried that they may not be willing enough, and I don't want to waste their money or my time,
Absolutely agree. Yeah.
you know. So it is about that. It is about it is about the willingness to change. It's about being certain that that change is actually what somebody wants, and then it's down to us to let them know that it's not as difficult as they might have thought it was, and that happens in the conversation before the hypnosis session, where we take away any of their fears, because there are fears about hypnosis
Yes.
that, you know,
Unfortunately.
yeah.
Even though we both know it's a beautiful thing and it's a natural thing, we do it all the time,
We're in
literally all
hypnosis.
the time.
Yeah, we're in hypnosis many times a day. We go into a daydream, we go into a trance, we drive, we're watching a movie, our minds are often elsewhere completely. We're not in that present moment, we're absorbed in something else. And that's all that's going to happen. It's just an internal state of focus based on a specific outcome that you're looking for. So, and it's breaking down those fears that exist around hypnosis because those fears come from television, they come from movies, and people thinking that, stage, which is great, and I love stage, and I love stage, um, but people have a fear that in the therapy room that same thing is going to happen to them, but it's not.
It's not because if you think about it, anybody who steps into a room where there's going to be performance, stage hypnosis, they already buy into it,
Correct.
right? They are willing
Correct.
to experience that, so it's already sold to them.
Absolutely. And I love stage hypnosis. I think that the confidence it gives the hypnotist to be able to do that, I think is just amazing on top of everything else. But I think the stats are about 10% of the population could actually go up on stage and do that kind of stuff.
Which
That's
is
all.
really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. But even if you take that, it's like when you look at how stage and how people can be when they're on stage in hypnosis. It, we're using that same hypnosis, we're just using in a therapy context, specifically focused based on whatever change it is that that client wants. So you're kind of breaking down the barriers and realizing that most of the change that people are afraid of doing is because they think it's going to be hard. They think it's going to be hard because they have a certain thought about it, something that happened many years ago.
And also because they think or believe that they're going to lose control. I think that's another part.
You explain that one.
Well, is that they, while they are in hypnosis, working with a hypnotist or hypnotherapist or any kind of change worker, if you like, that they are going to lose the control and they're going to say something they don't want to say. They're going to do something they don't want to do.
Very
They
true.
are not going to be, they're going to get stuck there and it's not going to go the way they want everything
Absolutely.
to go. But that's, we actually help in the opposite. That's how I explain it to people because what we are doing is to allow them to have the control back strongly, fully, 100%
Correct.
over every single part of their life.
And also, I mean, that's where the pre-talk is so key to all of this because it takes away any fears that people have. It explains the process to them. Explains that change is not actually that difficult in a state of hypnosis, and yet they'll always be aware of everything that's going on. They'll just be in a different brainwave state. That's it. They'll be in a state of hypnosis where change happens because all those habits, behaviors, and beliefs are in the unconscious mind, and you can't get there logically. I mean, you can, but it takes a very long time and it's quite painful. So it's very quick and easy with hypnotherapy and with hypnosis.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's about explaining that and even demonstrating their own abilities. Because clients come in and they do certain hypnotic phenomena and they're going, I never thought this was possible. I don't like losing control, but yet my hands are moving in directions and I'm going, I have no control over it. That's only literally just to demonstrate to them the power of their own mind. That's it. Um, and they get that, and then they realize they actually have more control than they realized, control to change. And I think when you have that, it takes away any fear,
Yes. Yes.
takes away that fear to change.
And I
Um,
think it strengthens the willingness.
of course, absolutely agreed. Um, because it is that fear of change and that moving away from pain where the pain becomes less. So the
Yeah.
effort to move further becomes harder. So the kind of people stop.
Yeah.
How many people, not so much in a hypnosis reality, but in other realities, work towards a goal and at a certain point they drop out. There's a whole lot of stats on that if you went to Google them, but they're quite high as you go higher. You know, there's less and less people that remain. Why is that? It's the willingness to change. They don't have that willingness to change. They have the willingness to move away from the pain, but not necessarily toward to achieve the goal.
With pleasure, yeah.
Yeah. Um, so willingness is key. So I mean the three questions, and I know I run a few techniques in any session that I do to test some of that as well with people. But it's like something must change. It must be now, and it must be me. And if that's the case, then all change is absolutely possible.
Mm. So would you say that oftentimes if let's say that you're with a client and
Mm.
you feel a bit of resistance, so things are not going as fast as they usually go or
Hmm.
the way they go, that would you say that more often it's because they are not willing to make that change? They are not fully ready.
It's sometimes it's the fear of change. Sometimes they're not fully ready.
Mm.
But I do kind of vet
Agreed.
people in advance. I really do. Anyone who comes is normally ready, or within 15 minutes of sitting down, I'll know if they're ready.
Exactly. Because oftentimes it's when if they sit down with a hypnotherapist or a hypnotist and they explain, they take away their fear of hypnosis to change
Mhm.
and everything. They explain the whole process. So it's that what you said, the pre-talk. If they do it properly, that fear just disappears.
Absolutely, because the pre-talk
And
is
then they take that extra step to be ready. Oh, okay,
the
let's do that.
pre-talk is an absolute foundational part of any session because most of the work, the direction of the session is all set within that. In fact, often, a lot of the work is actually done in the pre-talk.
Mm.
The decision is made. Um, it's only just the process of change after that.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely. And often when somebody is on this journey of change, I like to remind people that, if you want to change your appearance, your body, let's say you want to build muscles, you can't build it in a week. It
no,
needs time and constant effort.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
you can change a belief about anything in a moment, but you'll still get triggers. But that's where we
yes.
forward pace all of that, future pace it all. Um, but I mean, I always find it useful because particularly I work with a lot of anxious people anyway. So that,
Mm.
whereas initially you were aiming to do all this in one session, but it's not. I mean, it's three or four because there's environmental triggers and they keep coming back. And if there's any tests that need to be done, you just deal with those environmental triggers as they arrive. Um,
A perfect example is my situation. So I live in the UK and I spend a few weeks here in the summer. And yes, I may be, let's imagine that I made a change in any part of my life and I'm absolutely fine in the UK, come back here. I am triggered constantly, childhood memories, all the family, and things
so,
can come back, not necessarily with full steam ahead, not the same way, but it can.
but it's still
And
there.
in the UK, I would never think about working on these sugars because they are not there, are they?
Yeah, and that is the point. People go, they leave and they go back into their normal lives, and there may still be some triggers that just need to be addressed,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know? And it's still a far more effective therapy. I mean, you're still only talking a couple of sessions. You're not talking a year or 6 months. You're only talking
Yeah,
a few. So, um, and once someone has that willingness to change, so that is the key to everything.
yeah,
Because once they're willing to change, they're committing. And it's getting the unconscious permission. And that really is the key to it all, is the unconscious permission. Because that's kind of where we started. And it's kind of like, you know, you could have somebody who wants to quit smoking. They know it's bad for them, but yet their parents did. And it's the one thing they're holding on to that's a memory of their parents. And it's an unconscious memory,
mm,
as I had recently. So it's kind of like, okay. But once that was discovered, the change can happen. But that's an example of conscious versus unconscious. I know I need, no need to stop. Um, it costs money, it's bad for health, etc., and so forth, and all that. But yet this particular person was like, it's the one comfort I have, it's the one memory I have of my childhood that still remains.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah, but it's a
But it's
very unhealthy
in
reason,
an
isn't
unhealthy
it?
way.
Very unhealthy. So it's kind of like, but that change has happened and that change is done. So, but that's an example of conscious versus unconscious.
Yeah.
You know, yes, at every level, from everyone around them telling them they needed to stop smoking to every message they see everywhere that says smoking is bad, and the money and the health and all the aspects of it that go with it. But yet, and they consciously wanted to stop, they knew it all, but it was the unconscious response of, but there's value to this.
Fascinating.
And it is like, um, I'd often, when we're doing the pre-talk and you and I, we do similar kind of pre-talks, and I'm sorry for using my hands here now, but we talk about the two hemispheres to our brain, left and right.
John is showing up his left and right
My
hand.
left and my right hand is probably in reverse on screen, but anyway, so this is the left actually. So there's the logical side of the brain, and there's the emotional side of the brain. And in the middle, you have your amygdala, and you have all that kind of exercise that takes place. And I would often say to clients, look, you're daydreaming. You're walking down the road during your holidays in Spain or Hungary, and a car horn suddenly beeps, and we all do that. It's just instant, right? It's the amygdala firing off, that brain goes off, kicks off, shoots off. And when a client wants to logically stop smoking, so if we live in a logical world, we go, I have to come back from my holidays in Spain. What was that sound? I better go have a look. But it doesn't work that way. We don't, most of our responses are in here. So when that need for a cigarette or that chocolate biscuit or that old habit of behavior kicks in, logic goes out the door. This thing just fires off. So that's where,
Emotional mind always wins.
yeah, and that's where the unconscious response is. So that's why the unconscious permission is necessary. And I
Absolutely.
think that's probably the best way for me to explain it. And I just hope it makes sense to people who are watching or listening. And if anyone's listening, they just haven't seen my hands move. So I'm sorry about that.
But John was
Watch it
talking
on
about
YouTube.
the emotional and logical mind, conscious, unconscious.
Yes.
And if there is any kind of conflict or anything between them, the emotional mind will always win.
Right.
So it's our feelings will override our logical mind. That's the most basic explanation. That's how I can explain it. So it's like I know I shouldn't smoke, but it makes me feel relaxed. That's
There you
what they
go.
say. I don't know.
But yeah, but it also explains why willingness is so important, because it is in the unconscious, and that's where
Yes,
that's
yes,
yeah.
yes. You have to get if you want to make any change, you have to get to that threshold. Like
Absolutely correct.
it has to be
Yeah.
now, and it's
Yeah.
something has to change.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we can bring this to a close now.
I think so too.
I think, and then if anything is not understandable, just please let us know.
Please
Any
let us know.
questions,
Absolutely.
any feedback, please, please, please
Absolutely. Because
send us.
yeah. Um, yeah, because like what we're here to do is to have a discussion, to spark debate, to spark interesting
To
conversation,
ramble, to educate
and literally to ramble.
in our educate in our rambling way.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think I love I actually enjoyed, hope everyone else is, that we bring into different things, because I think that helps to understand the very thing that we want to ramble about more.
Absolutely. And if there's
Ramble
anything,
that through properly.
and if there's anything anybody wants us to cover, then please let us know.
Yeah.
Because we'll ramble on that.
Yeah,
Best
yeah,
of our
definitely.
ability.
We will at some point cover weight loss, weight
Yep.
management, because I think that's quite a massive part.
Yeah.
And then we are going to probably like cover different global issues that people are struggling with, so we can cover them, explain what it is, where it's coming from, and how to really deal with it, how to change things. Because I think that's an important part of hypnotherapy.
And what you'll find is a lot of threads will be common through all of the treatments that we do, all the therapies that we use, because hypnosis, nobody teaches us to manage our mind.
Unfortunately.
But our mind influences everything that we do.
This should actually be in schools, a curriculum.
I agree.
Oh, well, we will get there one day. We will get there.
Absolutely.
With that, thank you so much for listening, for watching, and have a magical day wherever you are.
And whatever you're doing, it's a good night from me, good day from me, good morning from me, whatever time of the day it is for me. And
from me, bye.
bye.